All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're happy to have Dr. Anu Raijas, the Financial Literacy Advisor of the Bank of Finland. She's going to present for us today on the proposal for a national strategy to promote financial literacy in Finland. After Dr. Raijas' presentation, Dr. Lusardi and I will lead a guided discussion and then open it up to questions from the audience through the Q&A function. So take it away, Dr. Raijas.
Thank you. Do you see my slides?
Yes.
Perfect. So may I begin by saying that it was really a great pleasure to be invited to give this distinguished lecture at the Financial Literacy Seminar. I'm very grateful to Professor Anna-Maria Lusardi, who invited me to give this speech to you. I'm honored to tell you about the process of how we made the first national strategy of financial education in Finland and present the main elements of this strategy. The strategy report in English is available on the net. So it was already in 2012 when I first time proposed that in Finland we should have a national strategy in financial education. Then time passed and nothing happened, even though there were occasionally discussion about it. Then at the beginning of 2020, the Bank of Finland, the Ministry of Justice and other key authorities agreed that the Bank of Finland could prepare a proposal for national strategy in financial education. The Bank of Finland led this work, but the main actors engaged in financial education and the researchers in the field participated actively in this work. This was important to involve all the relevant actors to this work because it ensures the adoption of the strategy, actors' commitment to it, and their acting in accordance with it in the future. Various sectors participated in this work: authorities, public actors, the education sector, NGOs and networks, as well as financial and business actors. We did a lot of background work when preparing our strategy. Therefore, we can say that Finland's strategy is based on substantive facts and analyses. In our work, we have taken into account the level of Finns' financial literacy, the conditions prevailing in the market and society. The OECD's International Network on Financial Education, INFEC guidelines, and examples from other countries have been utilized in our strategy. A Bank of Finland's project groups was responsible for project planning, conducting necessary studies and writing the strategy proposal. The board of the Bank of Finland Museum, that consists of representatives from different departments of the Bank of Finland and Financial Supervisory Authority, also participated in the project. In addition to that, we have many expert groups that were formed from actors outside the Bank of Finland. There were those having financial education activities, so they knew what to do. First, we have a research group that conducted a background analysis of the current state of Finns' financial literacy in the light of recent research and studies. Second, we have a group which was responsible for surveying and evaluating actors and projects, and they gathered information on financial education actors' activities and projects and evaluated this work. And third, we had an operating model development group that prepared a proposal for national cooperation. The fruits of the project last year were presented throughout its course to a network that consisted of 84 organizations. The network met virtually several times, and the views of the various actors were widely consulted in online meetings to support the writing of the strategy. Furthermore, we informed broadly of the strategy process in social media, blogs, newsletters, and webinars. In this way, we made dialogue possible between us and the actors in the field. Then a few facts about Finland, if you don't know our country. As you can see from the map on this slide, Finland is situated in the northern part of Finland. Our eastern neighbor is Russia, with whom we have had a common history before we became independent in 1917. Finland has a population of 5.5 million inhabitants. GDP per capita in 2020 was about 43,000 euros. The population is well educated. A third of the population has completed a tertiary level qualification, 3 out of 4 a post-comprehensive level qualification. And what is also important when we talk about Finland is that we have a social and economic system called Nordic model that can be taught as a combination of economic efficiency and social equality. The model has 3 features. One, we have comprehensive welfare state with transfers to households and publicly provided social services that are financed by taxes. Third, we have public and private investment in human capital, including childcare, education, as well as research and development. And third, we have labor market institutions, wage coordination, relatively generous unemployment benefits, and active labor market policies. Then few words about financial environment and Finns' financial situation. The financial sector in Finland has a very high level of digitalization, which means that financial services are highly developed. Finns are very familiar with internet banking. Normal bank services are to a large extent used via computers and mobile phones. However, because of the development of financial products and high digitalization of the financial market, citizens' financial literacy has to be updated, particularly among older people. It is highly important that citizens understand digital financial products and services as well as their risks. Then some facts about Finns' financial situation. In 2020, households' indebtedness rate was 133%. This figure has rapidly risen in the last 10 years. And this is something that we as a central bank are concerned about. Because of COVID-19 in 2020, consumption expenditure fell dramatically and saving grew faster than disposable income. And this has happened in other countries as well. A negative phenomenon is the problems in finances. At the end of June 2021, as much as 390,000 people have default in payment. That is about 9% of adult population. Also, 12% of the household population was at risk of poverty in 2019. So we started our project by reviewing the studies in order to find out what is the level of financial literacy among things. And we saw that it is extremely important that we know this state. In recent years, Finland has participated in a few international studies of financial literacy. Various surveys give slightly different results, but our rankings have been rather high among other countries. A more accurate investigation, however, reveals some weaknesses in some areas of financial literacy. In 2014, Standard & Poor's Global Financial Literacy Survey investigated how citizens were able to answer questions concerning interest rates, interest compounding, inflation, and risk diversification. In this survey, a financially literate person was defined as one who knew correctly at least 3 out of 4 these financial concepts. Among 140 countries, Finland was the 8th, and 63% of adults was financially literate. Finland was also among 31 countries that participated in an international survey of financial literacy competencies using OECD INFE toolkit in 2016. Overall financial literacy in the survey was highest in France, followed by Finland, so we were the second. The good results in Finland are based on the fact that compared to the other countries, more citizens know basic financial concepts and can apply numeracy skills, behave in financially literate ways, and have favorable attitudes toward financial behavior. The European Consumer Payment Report had included in their report in financial well-being barometer with 4 pillars. One of these pillars was financial literacy. In terms of financial well-being, Finland was the 5th among 24 European countries. But one of these pillar financial literacy, Finns were the best. And in this survey, 82% of Finnish respondents knew financial terms correctly. So the research has found that financial literacy is not equally distributed in Finland, even though those results were rather good. Finns are in general interested in money matters, but men more than women. Men have also better financial knowledge than women. Also, highly educated and wealthier people have better financial literacy than others. Research has also found out that Finns' financial planning is often short-term. Then to our strategy. So what elements did we include in our first national strategy? First, we argue for national approach. Then we specified objectives. We saw it important to consider situational and circumstantial factors. Then we focus on how different target groups can be identified and reached. We see a practical action plan as the most relevant part of strategy. What is also important is that strategy is monitored and we must have high-level research. It is important to share up-to-date information to citizens and between professionals. And finally, an important part is to formulate governance, including steering, coordinating, and financing. Next, I will tell you more about the most important parts of our strategy. So, our strategy covers different aspects of private finances: everyday spending, planning finances and financial preparedness, purchasing, borrowing, saving, investing, owning, and insuring. This entity contains short-term and long-term decision-making. Financial literacy is lifelong learning, as we know. It cannot be assumed that the knowledge and skills acquired in school years will be current all the time without updating. Strengthening financial literacy is important at all stages and contexts throughout life. Furthermore, a changing environment is important to take account. When we mapped financial education activities in Finland in 2020, we realized that dozens of actors from various sectors do very valuable work in financial education. Financial education is done both on a practical level and in various research and development projects. In practice, financial education is conducted, for example, in training, visits, meetings, events, counseling services, guides, tools, games, and websites directed to different target groups. But a problem in financial education activity is that it is currently fragmented and partly duplicated in Finland. So coordinating function to this activity has to be established. Through coordination, financial education will become more systematic and goal-oriented. When the financial education is done in the future in line with the strategy, resources will be used more efficiently, good practices will spread to be utilized by more actors, cooperation and synergy will be improved between different actors, and finally, the effectiveness of activities will be increased. Easy to find and low threshold advisory and information services should be established for decision-making situations in citizens' financial affairs. Different target groups, as well as accessibility to information, must be taken into account. Furthermore, actors engaged in financial education work need compliant, up-to-date information on other actors' work and their activities, data, and materials. This information sharing should be transparent, impartial, regular, and interactive. Digitalization in this area has produced many benefits. Interactive remote activities as well as digital materials and services are cost-effective and they reach a large number of people efficiently. When acting in digital environment, it is wise to share knowledge and expertise among actors, as both the development and implementation of new practices take up a lot of resources. We have used the OECD INFE definition of financial literacy, in which financial literacy is a combination of knowledge, behavior, skills, and related attitudes necessary to make sound financial decisions. In addition to these three dimensions I mentioned, we would like to separate three levels of financial literacy, namely basic, intermediate, and expert. The different levels must take into consideration the fact that support for financial literacy is needed on different levels of, for instance, income and education, but the content of this support varies. The mission of Finnish strategy in financial education is to make people understand the importance of finances in their own lives and to act in their own finances in an ethical and sustainable way. The ultimate beneficiaries of the strategy are individual citizens. The goal is to increase citizens' knowledge of financial matters and financial management and to influence their behavior and attitudes. The objective of the strategy is, on one hand, to prevent people from getting into difficulties with their finances, and on the other hand, to support people to make advantageous choices in the financial markets. The vision of our strategy is for Finns financial literacy to be the best in the world by 2030. We are sure about this, that it will be achieved, and it will be achieved by improving the various aspects of financial literacy, as well as related advice and access to information. What we see really important in our strategy is monitoring and evaluating of this strategy. This is a really relevant part of when implementing the strategy. In monitoring and evaluating the success of the financial education strategy, the focus will be on how the measures in our action plan achieve the goals that have been set. So results and impacts must be measured both on a general level as well as for individual target groups, projects and actions. So as widely as possible, all the activities included. The evaluation will examine the possible development of measures. The results and impacts of the national strategy will be monitored systematically and regularly using by the indicators we will be developed to this. So it is possible to verify the results and impact of activities successfully also in the short term. So concrete changes that have taken place as a result of the measures taken will be described and measured. In the evaluation of results and impacts, attention will be paid to how the goals set for activities have been achieved and to the kind of impacts the activities have had. Impacts will become evident before effectiveness, which is more difficult to evaluate because it is influenced by many different factors, materializes at the societal level, and often not until a longer period of time has passed. Research is also an important part in our strategy, and it is highly connected with monitoring and evaluating. So actors who are already doing some research, they should be encouraged also when we have implementing our strategy to continue to carry out research on their own activities, and it would be beneficial for them to share this information throughout the network of actors. A survey of the level of and development of the financial literacy of the whole population will be conducted every third year. And here it is important to measure the achievement of the goals specified in the action plan. It is also important that Finland should participate time after time in OECD international surveys, which has not happened since 2014. In this survey, we can see our ranking compared to other countries. Alongside quantitative measurement, qualitative research will also be required. Qualitative studies will increase understanding of financial literacy and the factors affecting it, and will complement the data generated by quantitative methods. Scientific research must be one of the essential elements of the implementation and monitoring the strategy, but various background studies and surveys should also be conducted. Scientific research should be used in evaluating the results and impact of projects and activities, as well as their effectiveness. Research should be carried out in interaction with practical activities, for example, through various experiments and in identifying relevant target groups. The implementation of the national strategy for financial education requires the involvement and an interdisciplinary research community, which will ensure the development of research in the field. We found the education sector in the strategy a little bit problematic, but we succeeded in solving it. Financial education in schools is linked to our strategy, but it is not directly included in it. School education implements a curriculum based on laws and decrees, in which one of the key objectives has long been to strengthen the financial literacy of children and young people. The objectives of our strategy are linked to curricula and to the continuum of developing financial literacy and their utilization in future curriculum work will also help to develop financial education in schools in line with common national guidelines. The education sector is involved in the strategy through financial education work undertaken for schools by external parties and via various cooperation projects. Multidisciplinary actors outside schools can support the implementation of curricula and provide training for teachers. Teachers, like students at different school levels, are therefore within the scope of the strategy and among its key beneficiaries. Sorry about my mouse, it is something wrong with it. But then to the next slide. We saw that the national strategy for financial education could have only one owner, and that owner will undertake to be responsible for the implementation of the strategy and enable financial education in the network of actors. We at the Bank of Finland did the strategy work, but we saw that the central bank would not be an appropriate actor to be responsible for the strategy. Therefore, we submitted the strategy proposal to the Ministry of Justice at the beginning of this year. In Finland, the management of the financial education strategy is most naturally suited to the Ministry of Justice. The Ministry of Justice in Finland has the state legal aid office's financial and debt counseling. Therefore, the implementation of financial education strategy would be best suited to this organization. The governance model for monitoring, controlling, and coordinating the implementation of the strategy must be light, but effectively serve the implementation. What was the really good news that happened a couple of months ago, that Finnish government decided to establish a financial education function in the Ministry of Justice. So national strategy in financial education will be funded from 2022 by the government, and it is marvelous news. The Ministry of Justice is now responsible for national strategy, and they will start to implement it really soon. A specific issue with regard to the strategy is to establish and maintain a research network. This network will take care of research activity in financial literacy. And we see that we need the help of Ministry of Education to this area. This was all I had to tell you. I hope that you enjoyed listening this. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Anu, for this presentation. We have a lot of questions actually for you, given this incredibly ambitious objective that the Bank of Finland and this strategy has set up. But I'm going to ask, maybe start asking some, maybe a continuation of your talk, and tell us a little bit more, so when is it going to be implemented, and kind of this choice of the Ministry of Justice as the institution implementing it.
So thank you, Anna Maria. Ministry of Justice and also Ministry of Education was really actively involved in our strategy process last year. And during the process we did here at the Bank of Finland last year, it realizes that central bank in Finland is not an appropriate organ to take care of, to be responsible for the strategy. And then we started negotiation with other ministries what ministry in Finland could be the most appropriate to take care of our first national strategy. Mm-hmm. And we showed for instance, Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Education, and also Ministry of Finance, that we have done a great work, and we have also we have planned everything ready. So now you have to take the ball and also get some governmental funding to this activity. And all the ministries saw really important so that Finland will start this national strategy for financial education. But then Ministry of Justice, because they have this finance and debt counseling, they saw that they could take care of this, because they have this finance and debt counselors in every municipalities all around in Finland, and therefore it could be very efficient to also broaden this strategy implementation all over the country, because they have these service points in every municipalities. Did I answer your question correctly?
Yes. Yeah, this is it's like to know kind of a little bit more of the details, and I'm going to instead, going beyond the detail, ask about what you told us, which is so impressive, right? So there is this objective by 2030 for Finland to be the most financially literate country in the world. And I think you are on a good path to that because you are already doing well. But can you tell us more about kind of, this objective, this very ambitious objective? What makes you optimistic about being able to achieve it? And what are the strengths and weaknesses of setting up such an ambition objective? Of course, it is in a 9-year time, but what's kind of behind this setting this ambitious objective? Let's put this way.
Mm. If I start my answering with the good points, so Finland was involved in PISA 2018, where financial literacy was also a part of it. In that survey, the young people in Finland, they were the second place after Estonia, and we might think that our adult people are as smart as our young people. That can be one option. And when we last year mapped all the activities that is done already in Finland, we saw that very valuable work has been done, and therefore there is so much activity in order to promote financial literacy among different target groups. But as I said in my presentation, this activities is rather fragmented and also duplicated, and on behalf of our strategy, it is possible to make this work more efficient. But it is also the challenges is also within this activities of several actors, because what I saw when I collected data about these activities, some actors, maybe it means most NGOs, they are competing each other, and that is something that we have to do, something that we have to put. We have to have our common objective, and all the actors have to work towards this objective. And it is not any use to it is harmful to compete with those clients and compete who is doing the best work in financial education, and that is something that we have to tackle in some way. But otherwise, I see that it is quite realistic to achieve our objective by 2030. But what is also important that this when I told these survey results about the condition of financial literacy in Finland, it is also very fragmented, so that we don't have any clear picture about the situation in financial literacy in Finland, and that's why it is really important that we put what I have. Research is really important to take with this strategy implementation.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. So a next question. It's really interesting, your answer to the question about the Ministry of Justice. I think the idea of having the Ministry of Justice implement a debt counseling program is kind of interesting to hear for at least a US audience. That is, it sounds very beneficial. So going back to the Ministry of Education, how important do you think it is to have the financial literacy component directly in the schools? And also, what about higher education? What about financial literacy in universities?
It is really important to have, of course, financial education in all the levels at school. And I mentioned earlier this PISA 2018, and this survey indicated a very interesting result concerning Finland, because in Finland, teaching of financial issues could diminish the variation of home circumstances. In other words, those young people who don't get any financial education from their parents could have it at school, and that's why it is really important to have financial education at school. And at school, it is also possible to reach a large group of young people, even the whole age groups. And it is also important what we want to include in our strategy, that we have a kind of interaction with school curriculum, so that we can also try to influence the contents of school curriculum in the future, and in that way keep it alive, that financial education will be there in curriculum also in the future. And what is extremely important, that this will be developed in a way. And what is I don't know if it is evident in other countries, but in Finland, many actors, bank, NGOs and authorities, they have open door to schools, and they are giving quite much financial education, and that is something that also needs some coordination, because it happens time after time that those visitors go to school week after week, and what is needed, that they have some kind of cooperation that they can change and have a kind of agreement who goes to the school in certain week, and that is something that is needed. But I think that our educational system is a really good basement for financial education, and that is something that also help to adult people later in their life as well.
And continuing on this point, Anu, there are several vulnerable groups in a population. And so, maybe to also improve the literacy of everybody, we want Finland to be the most financial literacy country. And if you succeed in 2030, I would like to move to Finland, I have to say.
You are
that would be wonderful
welcome.
to live in a country which has a high level of financial literacy. I think this is a good objective. But also, how do we make sure that we lift everybody, and that some of the more vulnerable group, which have the lowest level of financial literacy, also make very big improvements?
What we have emphasized in our strategy is that we want to focus on identifying all favorable situations and moments in people's lives, and try to see all these contexts when financial matters are natural to tackle. And what is important that we utilize the knowledge of professional in various areas. Those professionals that have contacts with vulnerable citizens, for instance, in social sector and in education, in healthcare. So we want to deliver this financial education to the professional whose focus is not in financial education as such. And we see certain situations important to tackle. For instance, various life changes and transition stages in the course of life, like when young people start their independent life and start family, and people go retired. But in addition to this, we would like to prepare people for unexpected risk on the individual level, like when people get sick or go to the accident and get unemployment or get to divorce. And also we want to strengthen the abilities to tackle the risks that come from the economy, as we now see it last year. And then we have these vulnerable groups that we already can identify: unemployed people, low-paid people, pensioners, and the elderly. And what is also important is immigrant households as well. So we would like to see vulnerable people in a way, broad way, and also we would like to tackle this and be preventive in this area.
This is great.
So I think one maybe follow up before we open it up to the Q&A box. Can you talk a little more specifically about, we know according to international data that there is a gender gap in financial literacy, and you've touched on this a little bit, but can you explain a little bit more how the strategy might best address improving financial literacy among women?
Yes, we have focused also women, and we were a little bit surprised for the fact that we have this gender variation in Finland as well, because we thought that we we will be so equal that we are not in this area, but that was true. But what we see important is the focus to raise women's interest toward finances, and they must be more conscious about final shocks and how to prevent or how to react to these financial shocks. And what is also important to tell them that is kind of preparedness for retirement age. I don't know if it is same in other countries, but women in Finland, they are worried, they are conscious, and they are also less confident with their finances, and they need much encouragement, and also we have to motivate them, encourage them, and also present financial issues in that way that they get interested in them. This interest is also important, but has to be risen. And what I have personally seen a good and effective channel to reach women is conventional and social media, a kind of articles and blogs, podcast directed to women. That is a good way. And we have to start this already at school, because I have now many times mentioned this PISA 2018, and even this survey indicated that boys' financial literacy is higher than that of girls, and they also, these boys in this survey, they talk more about money, and I have studied earlier financial behavior of families with children, and I have found in my studies that girls and boys are brought up in different way, and can you believe, boys in Finland, they get on average 20% more pocket money than girls, and this is really an awful thing, and this is almost the same difference that follows them to the adult age as well. And this is something that we can change, and this has to be changed. So I want to believe that we can get a new female generation who are able to manage independently their finances if we focus on this girls at school.
Thank you, Anu. This is a wonderful statement, and you know, we wish that this would happen in all of the countries as well. You know, we need to build and promote financial independence and make sure that women are equipped and girls are equipped to make these decisions. We would love to open now to questions. I have to tell you, there are lots of questions in the chat box, and I'm going to start with you know, some useful one, and maybe like that really follow this already discussion, and then maybe we'll group a few, so you know, we have really a chance to ask many of them. And some are asking, you know, can you tell more about the target group, but in specifically, and I think that's important, what are the measure of success for each target group?
You mean measure
a measure of success for each target groups in the national strategy?
That is something that we have not taught specifically, but what we have decided that I personally like tables, so that we have to, we can, when we are starting to prepare our action plan, we, between actors, those actors who are doing this financial education work, we can go on or get an agreement to some kind of division of work. And what is important that we, in that action plan, that we make an agreement that certain actors take care of certain target groups, and then we for instance, if we take a target group of the elderly, we can put objective to them that for instance 70% of those elderly people over 70 years old are able to use digital banking services, and then we this actor, stakeholder, who is responsible for this target group, it can follow it. It can measure what is the beginning situation, and then measure the situation about after a year or after 2 years. Is this something that you asked, or?
Yeah, I think that's what, that was the interest of some of the people asking the questions, but I think you have really answered, the question, and I leave it to Erin to kind of ask, pick some of the, we have, almost 10 questions now, and I think we probably will try to aggregate them.
Sure. So I'm going to pick a question here about kind of disseminating the information, right? And getting people to understand, what the strategy is. And so, how is this strategy going to be communicated to the public? Is there a strategy for, especially potentially for these vulnerable groups that we've been talking about, to kind of get the message out there that this is sort of a national push, and the goal of the push?
I personally see that normal citizens, they are not really interested on the strategies government are doing, but what is most important is to tell the citizens that we are interested in their financial well-being, and because now government has put some fund into this activity for us. For that way, it is important that as much as possible, possible persons in Finland are able to manage their finances, and that is something that we have to communicate to the normal citizens, and we have to put this message to their everyday life basement, so that they understand that is something that I can utilize, that kind of activity. And what is also important to tell that as I showed my slides, we want to even though we have these certain target groups, and it is important to focus on vulnerable people. So therefore, we want that the strategy serves as many citizens from baby to the elderly, so that all the life stages would be included. They would be the customers or clients of our strategy, and I want to see that they can all utilize this, and this is something that we have to tell also to the normal citizens.
There is a question. I'm also really interested in this. What's the role of the Bank of Finland now that you have done the strategy, but like it's now the Ministry of Justice has to implement it. So what is going to be the role of the Bank of Finland?
Mm-hmm. Thank you for this question. This is really important because I have to have something to do at the Bank of Finland in the future as well, even though the strategy is now ready. But what is a good news for me and also for the Bank of Finland, that this promoting citizens' financial literacy is one of the strategic focus of the Bank of Finland. So Bank of Finland has want to be active actor in this area. And now I am sitting at the Bank of Finland's museum, and at the beginning of next year we are going to open here financial education center, and that is something that we have developed under this year, and now we have finished this work, and in that way we want to be an actor because we have a really nice museum here. Anna-Maria, next time when you come to Helsinki, you have to visit this museum, and we have all kind of activities, and what is our role here is to give this place to stakeholders, that they can have they can have own happenings here, and we can in cooperation with them we can organize all kind of lectures, and we can invite here various target groups. And we have also a corner there on the museum side where we have totally focused on personal finances, and we show what is the role of households in the national economy, and how national economy and the other actors, other sectors in the national economy, how they affect to me as an normal citizen.
Great, thank you. So the next question is about kind of what investment avenues are available for citizens in Finland. And I guess I'm thinking, you know, as you mentioned in the beginning of your talk, you know, the social safety net in Finland is expansive, right? And I think at least from you know, sitting here in the US, it seems like, you know, the Finns are sort of less out on their own when it comes to kind of retirement, and if they experience a negative, you know, shock, that you know, there's a government system in place to help, and whereas it's sort of less the case in the US. So I guess, you know, how does financial, like, what kind of financial decisions are Finns, you know, sort of making? What investments are they doing? What you know, is it for retirement? Is it for a house? Like what I think kind of what does their portfolios look like, and you know, and how does that maybe different with such a expansive social safety network?
So thank you. That's why I at the beginning of her presentation I told that we have that kind of Nordic model, because it influences people's life and finances in a very relevant way. Education is free. Parents don't have to save money for their kids' education. But what we have also public retirement payment, so that we can get some from the public sector when we get retired. But it is not very much. So if we want to for instance, travel and do something in our free time, we can also we can save for our retirement age. That is possible. But what is important, but that comes relevant in last year in COVID-19 is that people have to they have to have something saved if something happens if in their finances, because many people, as other countries as well lost their jobs, and therefore people didn't have any cautious, so they didn't have anything to get money in order to finance their everyday life, for instance, and that is something that people have to if they lose their salary, if they lose their job, they have to have. And what is also important is this is one of my favorite talking is that if something risk realizes, if you get sick or get employment or go to divorce, so you have to have something that you can survive then after these kind of situations.
Thank you very much, Anu. I think it was so important to examine a case like Finland, and as Erin said, is there a need for financial literacy in a country with an extensive social insurance where the government can take care so much of people? And as you have mentioned, you've made a great case. Everybody needs financial literacy now. Yes. Right? The government can do a lot, but can only do so much. And we all need financial literacy. And I think we have seen that in time of crisis, we see that there is even a very important need to do risk and risk management, to have a buffer to protect ourselves against the shocks and so on. And also we have seen that in Finland as well, we see the similar feature of other countries. There is a gender difference in financial literacy, even a country with a very equal labor market, education system, and so on. And so there is a lot of work to do for everybody, but I can assure you we will all be cheering for Finland to do a very good job to become the most financially literate country in the world. I think you deserve that prize, and also you deserve to become one because you have such an impressive education system. Everybody is envious of the education system in Finland. You always come out at the top of the PISA ranking when it comes to a lot of topics. You have done so for your young as well. Some people were asking, perhaps it's because of the math skills that people have. And I think research shows it's not only math skills, but this is, I think you are the country which can achieve that objective. So, we wish you the best in achieving this objective. And thank you so much for being here today to speak about, this project, this work. We will come to Finland to see the museum. In particular, it seems a fantastic way to teach financial literacy and also to organize a lot of activities. We are so interested in seeing this, great initiative done by the Bank of Finland, but also the other institution in Finland. So thank you again for being here with us. And for all of you that have been listening, thank you, by the way, for a lot of your questions. I'm sorry we couldn't ask all of them. And so continue, in a sense, to follow the work of Finland. We post the presentation, but also the proposal. So you'll get to see, what is it that indeed is proposed. And we invite you to we have 2 more financial literacy seminar this semester. So please continue to join us for these useful discussions. Thank you so much.
Thank you for my bite as well. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.